Chicken lollipops made with chicken drumsticks are fun, cheap and easy, just like me. They take all the faff out of eating a chicken drumstick, and you regularly see huge batches of them on offer in the supermarket. They may seem a little bit fiddly at first to do, but it's nothing any idiot with a kitchen knife can't have a crack at, as I will demonstrate in this video. I am often to be found scouring the supermarkets for some cheap meat, and this time I popped down to Tesco and headed for the chicken section to see if I could find any of those eye-catching pop-out yellow discount signs. Unfortunately there were none, but when I went to the end of the aisle there was this massive pack of chicken drumsticks for £3.50. So there was only one thing for it: get home and light the barbecue. I'm going to get the charcoals going while I prepare the chicken, so start up with a couple of firelighters and then put my chimney starter full of charcoal on top. Now, having bought the world's largest pack of chicken drumstick, my wife insists that is a ridiculous amount of food for two people, so makes me freeze half of it. So to turn the rest into chicken lollipops, you just need to start by making a quick cut all the way round, roughly where the leg sort of fattens out a bit. Don't worry about being super accurate, just roughly around this point will be fine. And once you've cut all the way round, you want to scrunch it up so that bottom bit forms a nice little tight ball. And then we get to the slightly fiddly bit. You'll notice that in here are one or two, or sometimes three, little tendons, and they're going to be chewy, so you don't want those. So just bring your knife in, slice them off, and just repeat that if you find any more. The beauty of preparing your drumsticks like this, apart from being aesthetically pleasing like a lollipop, is that it allows a nice clean bone after you've eaten your chicken. There's no bits and pieces in there that you've got to eat round. You can just munch away all the way down to the bone, which makes them really good for kids as well. And once you've gotten rid of all the tendons, you now need to remove the top. You should just be able to do this using a thumb, getting it underneath and pulling away that whole bit of chicken from the cartilage at the top. It can be a little bit slippy, so you can just use a piece of kitchen roll that'll help you get some grip, or you can just heroically struggle on as I am here. It'll come off eventually. And with that you are pretty much done. Just make sure you pull the skin down around the ball that you've created at the bottom, and then just to make sure they stand up, you want to take a shaving off the bottom with a sharp knife. This is just so they stand upright during cooking and just helps with their presentation. And there we have one ready to go chicken lollipop. See, it's not that hard. The main issue really is that you have to repeat that process for every single one of them, which can take a fair bit of time. But with those all lollipopped up, it's time to add a little bit of seasoning to them. So to keep things tidy, I'm going to pop them on a tray. And then realizing I have run out of my barbecue rub, I'm going to improvise by putting a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic on as a base. And then as they need something to give them a little bit of colour, I'm just going to shove on some paprika. So I would normally just use my homemade barbecue rub on these, but have a little play around with flavours and make them your own. Once they've all had a nice coating, it's time to take them out to the barbecue. I'm cooking these on my Weber Master Touch, but any barbecue with the lid will do. You just want to set up a hot zone and a cool zone. I'm using my charcoal baskets, but if you don't have these, just bank up all your charcoal on one side and that'll create a hot zone and a cool zone. Whack on your grates and then place your chicken lollipops all stood up in the cool zone. So that's indirect heat, meaning not directly above the coals. This will allow them to cook but not burn. Just close up the lid to allow that heat to build, and then on my Weber I'm going to open up the vents about halfway and the bottom one to about the third point. This will allow me to get to 180 degrees C or 356 F if you're that way inclined. After they've been on for around 10 minutes, I'm just going to take them and turn them round, rearrange them a bit so they're all getting an even amount of heat. Lid back on, it's time to make up a glaze. So you could just use a bottle of barbecue sauce on its own, but it's a little bit thick, so I want to thin out this glaze a bit. But it's still going to be incredibly simple. So put in about half a bottle of barbecue sauce, about a third of a carton of pineapple juice, and then a good old squeeze of honey. Apologies if these measurements aren't very scientific, but sometimes you just have to eyeball it. And that is literally it. Super simple. The lollipops have had a further 10 minutes, that's 20 in total, so it's time to sauce them up a little bit. To do this, I'm just going to take a basting brush and I'm going to paint them all over. Another technique you can use is to put your sauce in a mug and then just dip each lollipop in. That'll cover it nicely. But essentially, all you're trying to do here is cover your lollipop in some barbecue sauce. And just repeat until they're all covered. Once sauced, we're just going to give them around about 5 minutes to set. So close up the lid and set your timer. Now I know I've been giving times so far in this video, but barbecue we cook to temperature, not time, so it's really important to check the internal temperature of your meat with a handheld thermometer. I've just got a cheap one that I found on Amazon, I'll put a link in the description. And for chicken, it has to be over 75 degrees, otherwise it's not safe to eat. Now when we're cooking the darker meat, like thighs or drumsticks, you can go a little bit higher than that because it's got a higher fat content. So these are around 80, I'm very happy with that, I'm going to pull them off. Now these are all looking absolutely amazing, even that one in the middle that I accidentally snapped the head off. That sauce is all set nicely and the colour looks amazing. Time to get them inside. I recently did a version of chicken lollipops in a 3 for £10 challenge video that I did, and someone commented to say that basically they didn't love themselves or their mates enough to go through this much effort to make them, which I found equal parts sad and hilarious. If you haven't seen that video, check it out now.